Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dana. Today I'm going to be sharing a card made with this cute new stamp set from Pajama Crafter Stamps. This is called the Woodland Christmas Eve Stamps, and it's all kind of Christmas cookie themed cookies for Santa, and then it's got these adorable little characters. And I'm going to be sharing how to make a fun background with these little bonus images that you get in this stamp set. For this technique, you are going to need a stamping tool that can do a circle, or if you're really good, you can do it freehand. That's not me. I'm not that good. So, so I'm going to go ahead and use my stamping tool. Now, this in particular one, you need like a sticky sheet, and I do need to change mine out. So you'll see mine's taped on the corners, but it'll work just fine. So the first little image I'm going to use is this cute little, I guess it could be hot chocolate with whipped cream. And I'm just going to place it kind of sort of in the middle-ish. And then I'm going to pick up my stamp. Now with this in particular stamping tool, I want to make sure that I get it kind of outside of that little ring. I just find that it stamps better, so I'm just going to reposition that real quick. And then the ink I'm going to be using is just a white pigment ink, or you could use like a picket fence, a white dye ink. But all you're going to do is ink up your stamp, and this stamping tool is rather large, so I am inking the stamp off screen here. I'm just going to push that down, give it a spin. Add some more ink, push that down, give it a spin, and then I'm going to continue doing that same thing until I have a full rotation of this stamp. And then for my next stamp, I'm going to use the bigger candy cane. And again, I'm just going to line it up where I want it. Once you get that first layer on, it's real easy to kind of visualize where everything else can go. Then I'll pick up the stamp, add some ink, press it down, and continue on. And then the next stamp I'm going to use is the single cookie. And I'm going to line that up so it's kind of not right by or in, I guess, in line with the little cup. I'm going to kind of put it on the wonk a little bit. And then pick up my stamp, ink it up, stamp it down, and continue on. And then I'm going to go in with the other candy cane. Actually, I think I'm going to do the plate. Do you want to do the plate of cookies? No, let's do the other coffee mug. Decisions. So again, for this one, I'm just going to kind of put it on the wonk a little bit. And it doesn't matter where you start in your circle. And then as you get out towards the edge, you'll skip a rotation here and then, just because the stamp's not going to stamp on your paper at all. And this is cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And it's just some craft stock. So you'll see here it's just a little bit of the stamp. So I know on my next rotation, I can probably skip that area. And then on that one, it's even less there. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the plate of cookies. Since this is a bigger stamp and I want to make sure we get a good amount of cookies on there. And I shifted my paper a little bit here, so let me just adjust that. Make sure that's still lined up good. Okay. And then see this one, we'll just completely skip that rotation because that's not going to stamp on there at all. And then skip that one. Okay, and then now I'll go in with that other little candy cane. I think actually I'm going to flip that one like that. Yeah, there we go. I'm skipping 2 rotations on that one. I don't want to add any of the presents or anything, so I'm just going to go back in with the stamp that I started with. And I'm going to clean it off a little bit. Actually, I think I'm just going to freehand this section. Just since I'm literally only going to be stamping in the 4 corners, might as well just freehand it. That there. I'll spin it, that there. Do that one kind of off. And then that there. There we go, that finishes our background. So now just remove it from your stamp tool. And in my world, most cards are not complete without a bit of splatter. So we're going to add some splatter on this. And I'm going to stick with some white splatter because I love white inks and paints on craft. It makes my little crafty heart happy. So I'm going to add quite a bit of splatter on there. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry, have a bit of a cleanup, and I'll be back to show you the next step. So for the next step, we're going to be creating some colored cardstock. This is one of my favorite ways to do that. I don't have a lot of space in my craft area, so I don't have a lot of like colored cardstock. So what I like to do is take my gel plate and then any type of ink and then just gel plate with it. So what you're going to do is just put your ink, and any type of ink will work for this. I wouldn't recommend using a permanent ink just because you're going to stain your gel plate. So definitely more of a dye ink or a water reactive ink, which they're dye inks, is going to work best for this. And you could also do it with paint, just a simple acrylic paint if that's what you have. So you just put your ink down, and then I like to spray it with water. And then take your paper. Now the paper that I'm going to be using for this card is a pearlized paper. I don't know if you can really see it. There we go. So this is going to react a little bit differently to the water than like a traditional cardstock would or a watercolor paper would. So you just lay it on there and rub your hand across the back of it so you soak up that ink. And then when you pull it off, you have this fun textured colored paper. And then I'll show you real quick what it would do on a mixed media paper, which is similar to a watercolor paper. It's just a little bit thinner. So again, just put your ink on there. Give it a good mist with water. And then grab your paper. And then with a type of paper like this, you get a smoother application of the ink. So it just kind of depends. And then don't waste this ink. You can get what's called a ghost print since it didn't soak everything up. And then you can see this is a bit more textured. So there's the 3 ways that, well, I guess it's just one way with 2 different types of paper. Anywho, that's how I like to color my cardstock without actually having to ink blend that. So I'm just going to die cut this and then we'll assemble the card. Okay, so I got all of my pieces cut out, and what I did with the background is I just cut it out with a couple different rectangle dies that I had in my stash. And then I inked around the edges, and I'm going to create one of those layered cards. I'm not entirely sure what you call them, but I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to start with the outside layer here, and I'm just going to glue it all together with some liquid glue. With these cards, I feel like this is the worst layer, this back layer, just because it's so thin. There we go. And then this white piece is just a scrap piece that I had just so that I have something to glue on. And then I'm going to glue this piece to the pink piece. And then this piece to this piece. And then each layer I'm actually going to pop up on some of the half thick or less thick, I call them half thick, foam dots. That way it just gives it a little dimension without adding too much bulk. And then I'll line this up to where it's straight-ish. Most things I do are kind of an ish situation. There we go, that's straight-ish. And then we'll do the same thing with this little piece. So that's not the right way around. This is the hardest part of a card like this, is figuring out what way around it goes. That's not right. So it must be, yeah, okay, that way. There we go. Okay, and that looks straight adjacent. And then out of the stamp set, I chose to use the cute little bear with the greenery around him. And I did the little cookies also. So it looks like he's holding a little plate of cookies. And I just colored him in with some colored pencils, and then I fussy cut him out. And I'm going to pop him up on some full strength foam dots. Put the little cookies on. There. Oh, booger. There. And then when I'm placing little things, I like to use my squeezers. As I refer to them as, they're really just reverse tweezers, but I call them squeezers. Just remove the release paper on all my little foam dots. And we're going to put him about in the center there. And there we go, our cute little card project using the Woodland Christmas Eve stamp set. If you're interested in the stamp set, you can find it at pajamacrafterstamps.com. I will have an affiliate link down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.